How to complete and upload a voucher to the DC Superior Court web voucher system. When you are ready to submit a voucher for payment through the DC Superior Court web voucher system, you can use the court robot to export a text file for direct upload to the court's web voucher system. By completing your voucher on mybot.courtrobot.com, you can avoid the hassle of dealing with the web voucher system. To get started, go to the page of the matter you wish to submit a voucher for. Scroll down to the Running Log panel. The Running Log panel shows all the time entries you have associated with this matter. If you are missing some time entries, do not worry, you will be able to add additional time entries before submitting the voucher. Next, click on the Vouchers button. This will bring you to a page showing you all of the vouchers you have associated with this case. When you first created the matter, if you marked the matter as a CJA appointment, then a first initial appointment voucher was automatically created for you. When the system automatically generated the voucher for you, it used the appointment date you provided as the starting date of the automatically generated voucher. You should double-check the voucher's start date and make sure that it matches the date in the court's records. If your start date does not match what is in the court's records, the court's web voucher system may reject your voucher when submitted. Creating a new voucher. If you do not have an open voucher entry for this matter, you can create one manually. To create a new voucher, click the Add Voucher button at the top of the screen. The voucher number field must exactly match the voucher number in the court system. If the voucher numbers do not match, the court system will reject your time entries when you attempt the upload. For that reason, it is recommended that you cut and paste the voucher number directly from the court's web voucher system to avoid any transcription errors. Also, be aware that if you mismatch voucher numbers, your time entries may be applied to a case you did not intend. For now, we can leave the voucher number blank. When first creating a new voucher, the only required field is the voucher's start date. All of the other fields are optional at this point. The court's web voucher system will reject any time entries which occur before the voucher's official appointment date. Because the end date of our previous voucher was December 30, 2021, let us set the start date of this voucher to December 31, 2022. The end date can normally be left empty. You only need to add the end date when you have multiple vouchers for the same matter and want to make sure entries that have already been billed to one voucher do not get added to a later voucher. Thus, the end date is used to make sure that time entries are not double counted. Thus, setting the start and end date of vouchers prevents overlap. I recommend that you leave the end date blank until you actually upload and submit the voucher for payment. The voucher description field is purely for your convenience and display. It is not critical that the voucher description match the court's voucher type. Let us call this voucher a COVID supplemental voucher. If this is a guideline voucher, you can check the guideline voucher box and select the correct amount. Click Add Voucher to create and save the new voucher. After saving the new voucher, we will be returned to the vouchers page for this matter. Cases with multiple vouchers. Back on the vouchers page for this matter, we can see that this matter now has multiple vouchers. When you have multiple vouchers, be sure to set the end date on your previously billed/uploaded vouchers. In order to separate time entries that have already been billed, the system needs to know the dates from which to pull time entries. By setting the start and end date, you are isolating which voucher entries you export for that voucher. For demonstration purposes, let us assume that we have already submitted the older voucher for payment. Let us change the voucher's status from active to submitted. You should only have one active voucher per matter at a time because the court system enforces the same rule. Now let us review the time entries for the supplemental voucher we just created. Click on Review Entries. This will take us to the voucher review page. This page is the primary page for working on voucher time entries. Here we see the date range warning. This explains that we have no time entries for the date range specified for this voucher. Please check the start and end dates for the voucher. This warning is alerting us that we either do not have any time entries during this time period, or we made a mistake in setting the voucher's start and end date. Let us check the start and end date. Looking at the start date, we can see the problem. The start date was supposed to be December 31, 2021, not 2022. We have the wrong year. Click on the Edit Voucher Details button to open the Voucher Details page. Correct the starting date to reflect the correct year. 2021. Click Update. Now we can see the time entries that we expected. Notice the system tells us that our last service entry was 1 day ago, and we have 9 entries occurring in the date range of this voucher. Notice the entries per page selection, which allows you to control how many entries appear on each page. Let's assume that we forgot to create a time entry for a phone call with the client from last week. There are multiple ways to quickly add time entries to our voucher. The first way is by clicking the green plus icon. This opens the time entry form and allows you to create a new time entry. Add a quick note and save. Also, notice the up and down arrow to the left of each time entry. Clicking on the up arrow will quickly insert a time entry for the next date. Clicking on the down arrow will quickly add a time entry for the previous date. I can see that I had a status hearing on December 16, 2022. I also see that there is no time entry for the day before the status hearing. Because I always call my clients the day before their hearings, let's quickly add a time entry for that phone call the day before. I can add a quick billing note and add 0.2 to the communication field. Notice that we do not need to manually save when making changes on the voucher review page. Everything is automatically and instantly saved to the server. This ensures that you never lose your progress while working on a voucher. The voucher review page lets you review and quickly add, remove, or modify voucher entries. If you have a lot of billing entries to add or modify, the quickest way is to use the voucher review page. Let's adjust some of our other time entries. The voucher review page makes it simple to adjust multiple time entries quickly without waiting for any reloading. You can click on the up and down buttons in each time entry field to increment the time by 0.1 up or down. The system will also respond to key presses. So you can press the up or down arrow keys to quickly adjust the time. Pressing Tab will bring you to the next field. You can also manually enter the time. Notice that as you adjust the time entries of your voucher, the total in the blue circle is constantly updated. The blue circle always shows you how much you have billed to this voucher. Notice that the target total in light gray text above each time entry's voucher total. The target total is the total amount of hours you have entered. The bold number is the total you have actually billed to the voucher entry. The target total is private and will not be exported with the completed voucher to the court system. Also, notice the light gray text above the billing note field. The light gray text is your private notes. They are displayed there so that you can quickly create billing notes based on your private notes. Never include confidential and privileged client information in your CJA billing descriptions. You are not exempt from your ethical obligations to the client just because you must submit the bill to a judge for approval. Never include the content of communications with clients in your billing descriptions. Never include information that may cast the client in a bad light. Clicking the Edit button on any one voucher entry will open the full voucher time entry form, giving you access to the billing snippets and auto-billing system. This also gives you access to edit your private notes and will allow you to set or adjust the target total. You have the option of entering a private note and a separate billing note. This allows you to keep detailed and privileged information in the private notes and create a separate billing description note which is safe to be uploaded and shared with the web voucher system. Remember that your billing note should never include privileged or confidential information. Billing snippets are the rounded small buttons above the voucher entry. Billing snippets are small, frequently used billing descriptions. Clicking on a snippet will append the billing snippet text to the end of whatever is currently in the voucher entry field. Unlike auto-billing, billing snippets add to, rather than replace, whatever is in the voucher entry section. The Run Auto Bill input will programmatically create a billing description for this activity. Auto-billing descriptions are similar to a billing snippet, in that they will automatically add and format the text of the voucher entry field. However, auto-billing descriptions are generally longer text entries and will automatically apportion the total time of the time entry into the individual billing time categories. For example, if you have a status hearing which took a total time of 0.8 hours, selecting an auto-bill description will enter a standard description for a status hearing and apportion the total 0.8 hours to individual time categories. Thus, for a status hearing, 10% would go to in-court time, 10% to waiting time, 50% to communication with the prosecutor or client, 20% to reviewing the file, investigation, and the remaining percentage to other. The auto-billing apportionment represents the system's best guess. You should adjust the entry to meet your circumstances. Be aware that running auto-bill will replace any text in the voucher entry field, however, it will not apportion time if there is already time logged to a field. When you are done working on this time entry, click Save to save the time entry. You can also use the hotkey Ctrl+S to save and close this time entry. Back on the voucher review page, notice the day's sum field under each time entry's date. The day's sum is the total amount of time billed to the specified date across all of your vouchers, not just this voucher. The court robot will caution you if you attempt to bill more than 12 hours to a single date. If you attempt to bill more than 20 hours to a single date, the court robot will show an error. Look at the entry for December 16, 2022. Notice that the day's sum is 9 hours. But we have nothing billed on this voucher to this date. Now let's add 4 hours of open court time to this time entry. Notice that the day's sum is now 13 hours and is highlighted in yellow. We also have a warning stating, your total billed across all vouchers exceeds 12 hours for this date. Now let's add 12 hours to the communication field. Notice our day's sum is now 25 hours and is highlighted in red. We also have a new error message, your total billed across all vouchers exceeds 20 hours for this date. Clicking on the day's sum field will bring us to the activities page for the relevant date. On this page we can see all of the activity we logged to all matters, not just the matter we were working on. Here I can see that I had 9 hours billed to another case on this same date. If this is an error, I can fix it. The system has just alerted me to the possible error and saved me the trouble of explaining to the court how I managed to bill for 25 hours of work in a 24-hour period. Click back to return to the voucher we were working on. Let's fix our time entry. What we really meant to do was enter 0.4 and 1.2. Fix the time entries. Notice the day's sum warning goes away. Now add a billing note. Great, now we have eliminated all of the red errors, meaning this time entry is good to go. Before we can upload our time, we need to eliminate all of the red errors in our voucher. Scroll down until you see the Download Voucher Text File button. Click on the Download Voucher Text File button. The Submit Voucher form will open. If you have any errors remaining in the voucher, the system will tell you they need to be fixed before you can submit the voucher to the court. Fix the errors. Each time entry must have a billing note. Each time entry must have some time billed to it. 2 time entries on a single date. Unlike the DC Superior Court's web voucher system, this system will allow you to create multiple time entries on the same date. The court robot system will concatenate your time entries with a semicolon and add the hours together to turn multiple entries into a single time entry upon upload. The experimental view. Before moving on, let's check out the experimental view. The experimental view shows rows for each date between the start and end date of your voucher. The experimental view gives you a quick overview of your voucher and lets you easily notice any large gaps between billed services. This can help you identify and locate missed services. Notice the selection buttons at the top of the chart. The first button shows you that we have the time entries for the year 2022 selected. Clicking on 2021 would display the time entries for 2021. Clicking everything will show all dates between the start and end date of the voucher. Clicking entries only will show only dates with time entries. Click 2022. Looking at the chart, we can see that each row also shows the day's sum and includes a bar graph representing the total amount of time billed on that particular day. The bar graph will be gray for time that is logged to a matter, but not billed to a CJA voucher. Time billed to a CJA voucher will be color-coded to the day's sum. Notice that as you bill more to vouchers on a given date, the color grows warmer. Clicking Add Time quickly creates a time entry for the date selected. Clicking the day's sum field or the bar graph quickly shows you all of your time entries for that particular date. Let's return to the normal view. Scroll up and click Switch to Normal View. Once you have eliminated all of the errors, scroll back down to the Download Voucher text file button and click it again. If you have eliminated all of the errors, you will be presented with the download form. Here you can set the voucher number if you have not already saved it to the voucher. You can also set the voucher's end date, which should be set to today since you are now exporting the time entries for final submission on this voucher. We can also change the status of this voucher from active to submitted by checking the Mark this voucher as submitted field. Finally, the Create Supplemental Voucher checkbox allows you to automatically create a new voucher for the same matter. The new voucher will have a start date, starting the day after the end date of the voucher you are currently downloading the text file for. Use this option when you are submitting an interim voucher or when you otherwise know that you will immediately need another voucher for this case. If you don't click this now, don't worry. You can always manually create a new voucher later if the need arises. Clicking Mark Submitted and Download Text File will cause the system to generate a text file which you can then upload directly to the DC Superior Court's web voucher system. A Save File dialog will open. Save the voucher.txt file. Now that you have the voucher text file, you can upload it to the court's web voucher system. To upload the file, log into the court's web voucher system. Once you are logged in, click on the Upload Billing tab. It is very important to use the correct upload system. Always use the Upload Billing tab from the web voucher system's home page. After the upload window opens, click the Upload Billing button. Select the .txt file you downloaded earlier. Click the Start button. You have just successfully uploaded all of your billing entries for this voucher. Congratulations!